I'm the Doctor. I'm a Time Lord. I'm from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Kasterborous.
I hope the ears are a bit less conspicuous this time.
You might be a doctor, but I am.
I'm a doctor, but probably not the one who looks good. Absolutely fantastic.
All of time and space, everything that ever happened or ever will. Where do you want to start?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Bigger on the Inside, the new Who Doctor Who Watch Along podcast. We're going to be talking about, this is sort of just like a little review episode of the Daleks YouTube mini-series. Is that what you'd call it, Harry?
Yeah, the Time Lord Victorious web series, whatever it is. Yeah, it's Daleks. It's Daleks.
It's quite hard to describe what it is because I don't really know.
I mean, we watched it, didn't you?
I did, but we'll get into. I'll get into my thoughts afterwards. I want to hear your thoughts first. What did you think of it?
A lot happened, but then not much happened.
Exactly. Yeah. My problem was that. Sorry, go on.
I mean, it was kind of like there's a lot to. I don't think any of it was bad by any means. It was just very, very strange. It was a much higher sci-fi than you usually get from Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I mean, quite literally, this is probably the only Doctor Who thing I've seen which is totally devoid of any human or even humanoid characters.
Yeah.
It was all robots. And there was I don't know if that was a barrier for me. It was something that I think I'm going to need to adjust to.
Yeah, same. One thing that I struggled with was it's called Daleks and they're the main character, but actually finding them somewhat interesting and relatable, I sort of struggled with a little bit because there is no human emotion, which I know is the compelling aspect of those characters. But when they are the sole purpose of their own series, it's quite difficult.
Yeah, I don't think it helps that the kind of who they were opposing was also three robots.
Yes.
And they all had like a bit of personality, but it was kind of like because they were robots, they were deliberately kind of quite simple personalities, like programmable personalities, I guess, within sci-fi logic. And so, yeah, I mean, I hope that as the series goes on, I don't think a human character will be introduced just because of the nature of the animation. That would probably be too hard to animate, unfortunately.
Yeah. So let's talk about the animation. My real issue with this was the animation because I feel so bad for saying this, but some of it is so bad. It takes away from me being able to properly enjoy the story.
I didn't hate the animation. I was able to get with it. The one thing that I noticed was that unlike kind of most, films or TV, it was 60 frames per second of the animation. And so for me, it felt like I was watching one long video game cutscene.
Yeah. But the animation looked like... Sorry, go on.
But I felt I was waiting for the bit where like a Dalek would land on the battlefield and like the camera pan behind him, it would say, use the R trigger to fire your laser.
And that's one problem I had is I was watching it thinking, this looks... like. I feel like the animation on the actual Daleks is very good. But the sequences where they kept cutting to the explosions and the fire over the city just looked so bad to me.
I was actually surprised by how ambitious in scale it was. Like they'd animated this whole like futuristic city. They had this elaborate the archive. When we get to the story, like the archive was quite this large structure, and they had all these like big sweeping shots that would zoom in from a great distance. Like it was very ambitious. I'm just not sure if they had quite the production budget to support the ambition that they had.
Exactly. I think that's what a few people on Twitter have said. But As someone who studies film, I sort of understand that a lot of filmmaking is problem solving and solving issues. It clearly doesn't have a big budget. So I think a better way to have told this story, if you were going to tell it through a live action medium, would have been to still have an animation, but really strip back the animation and don't overshoot for something you can't afford. So, for example, they could have done it so it looks like it was a cutout or something like that, or even like 1970s, 80s animations, like Saturday morning Transformers, really early days, give it that sort of retro vibe because it's cheap. And then you can disguise the imperfections with the fact that it's already designed to look imperfect.
Yeah, I mean that would have worked because clearly with like the music was going for quite this kind of retro sci-fi horror feel, and then if you just look at the logo for Daleks itself, it's quite a B movie like font with like an exclamation mark. It's Daleks.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I didn't picked up on that. Yeah, that would have been something that would have been maybe worth doing, or even if they weren't going to do it, maybe just tell it through a comic book or something like that might have worked a bit better. But I struggled to find the story that interesting because I was really distracted by the animation.
I mean, the story was really quite straightforward. What was the planet called? Was it Islos?
Something like that, wasn't it? Yeah. It's not said how you would think because I pronounced it and then they said it and I went, oh.
Yeah, it was like the episode was called The Archive of Islos, and the story was that the Daleks were coming to this planet and they wanted the archive. I'm not sure exactly what is in the archive that is important to the Daleks. Maybe that's something that's explained in Time Lord Victorious, or maybe
I bet it's the 10th Doctor.
You think the 10th Doctor is the archive?
Yeah, and he's in there and he's like, oh, hello, I'm the Doctor, but not the one you were expecting.
Oh, hello, I'm the Doctor, but I'm also the Time Lord Victorious. And then he blows up all the Daleks.
Was there anything else you thought about the episode? It was one of those things where I thought they were only meant to be 5 minutes long.
It was 15 minutes long.
Yeah, I don't know where I got the 5 minutes thing from. I look forward to watching more.
Yeah. I feel like it was a slow burner, and I'm kind of glad that the Daleks exterminated those archive defending robots because they didn't have much personality between them, unfortunately, because they were robots. I'm hoping that wherever it is that portal sends the Daleks has a charismatic character. I mean, we've not seen Joe Wicks's character yet, have we?
No, Joe Wicks? What, the body coach?
No, not Joe Wicks. What's his face?
Joe Sugg.
No, the guy, Joe Suggs, that's it. Joe Sugg.
Yeah. No, we haven't, not yet. Do you think there's a possibility we might get someone like Davros appearing in this?
I feel like because of the animation, it seems they've chosen to just have robotic characters, so
That's true.
I don't expect to see Davros.
No. Another problem I had with it was that opening scene where there's a lot of, in the style of the way it's being directed, there's a lot of what I feel is trying to cover up the fact that there is little animation because it is just a Dalek stood there talking and they don't move that much. So to sort of cover up the fact that there's little movement going on, the camera like pans around and zooms through all like the rooms, and I'm like, why is it doing this? It's almost like they're trying to cover up the fact that nothing much is interesting is happening apart from a character's been talking for 3 minutes.
Never up, but I noticed there were a lot of big camera movements. Yeah.
Yeah. But I look forward to watching more. I hope that it's something that I can get used to, and by the end of it, go, actually, that was quite good fun.
Yeah, I hope it's worth it. This isn't the most promising start, I'll admit. And maybe it's just because this is like, maybe it's because I'm not the audience to this. Like, I'm a casual Doctor Who watcher.
Yeah.
Maybe the high concept world building of the world without humans or the Doctor isn't compelling to me by itself, but we'll see. We'll have to see. I'll stick with it.
I always think that you need some sort of human-esque character, or you need some character that the audience can relate to, so they're at least grounded within the story and can have some, pivot point for the rest of the stories. I relate to it in this way, and this is how the rest of the story triangulates from there. But if you don't have that, you're just sort of passively watching two robots.
So I'm holding out until Joe Suggs' his character appears because he's a charismatic guy. I feel like they're going to give him a fun character, and maybe that'll kind of be the humanizing element that it currently lacks.
Yeah, I think my understanding is that he's playing a sort of little robot guy, almost like a little BB-8 style fun robot.
Okay, I'm down for that. I'm down for a fun robot chilling with the Daleks.
Yeah,
making wise cracks.
I'm just going through Twitter now to see what people are saying about the Daleks. The Daleks reminds me of the Infinity Quest. Just a short weekly animation that's more a bit of mindless fun than anything to be taken seriously. A lot of the things that disappoint me during the Moffat years, but having those Daleks built, that's something completely different. What else do we have here? The first episode of Daleks was a fun opener. I know people are moaning about the animation, but considering the quick turnaround and the fact that it's free, I thought the animation wasn't that bad, which I sort of guess we have to sort of accept as this is free animation. But
that's true.
There is a lot of free animation on YouTube, which I would say is much better than this.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say for CG animation. I can't think there aren't really that many that I'm aware of, like prolific CG animators.
Yeah.
When it comes to like hand-drawn or Flash animators, well, I don't know if animators still use Flash, but 2D animation, there's a wealth of very high-quality stuff on YouTube.
Yeah. So if you had to give this a rating out of 10, with 10 being the best thing Earth could give you and 1 being death, where would you put this?
Death. So ranking it, hard. I feel I don't want to be mean, but
I think I struggle to give it more than a 4.
I was gonna say 4-5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel the story needs to be worked on a bit more for it to be more compelling.
I feel like it's not hooked me. I feel like I would. I don't know, I'm gonna say 5 because I am intrigued to see where it goes, and like even if I wasn't doing this, I think I would watch the next episode.
Yeah.
But I feel like the next episode is really make or break.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like.
What's its views like? Can I have a quick look at that? How's it doing on ye old views?
It's been up for 3 hours now, I think.
Yeah, I would have thought we would have got a fair amount. People were looking forward to it. There was a lot of talk online about it beforehand. Let me have a quick look.
I'll say I'm predicting it's in like the 10,000s.
27,000.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, 27,000 in 3 hours. The last video before that was 26,000 in 5 days. So it's doing well. What's the score with the likes to dislikes? 175 dislikes to 2,009 likes.
Okay, so most people like it.
The people seem to be enjoying it, but I do wonder how much of that is people just enjoying any kind of Doctor Who medium at the moment.
Yeah, maybe we're in the minority, but
Harry. Oh, yeah, sorry, no, carry on. Oh,
maybe
one second. I've got
we're in the
music
minority,
playing and all sorts. One moment. What have I done here? Sorry, carry on.
I was going to say maybe we're in the minority, but we're not getting that much out of it right now. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, maybe most of the people who've watched it are more diehard Doctor Who fans who are more open to a straight up sci-fi intergalactic story about the Daleks. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I knew that was what it was going to be going in, but maybe that's just not as much my thing as it is these people's thing.
Yeah, well, we'll come back and we'll do episode 2 next week, and then we'll ground our opinions then and see how far we want to pursue with this.
Yeah.
Cool. So, bye, everybody. Do you want to say bye, Harry?
Bye-bye.
Woo!
forget to click below to subscribe to the official
Bigger on the Inside podcast.